जीवन्मुक्तिप्रदं देवं क्षमापूर्णं
Paramahamsa Nityananda is a rare living incarnation, a yogi by birth. He has been expressing his power of enlightenment since birth. He has authored more than 500 books in Tamil and English, books in Telugu, Kannada, Malayalam, Hindi, Sanskrit, Gujarati, Oriya, Bengali, Marathi, French, Malay, Polish, Portuguese, Italian, German, Danish, Spanish, Russian and Chinese, with translations in 26 languages are available. He is also an exemplary speaker with over 8,000 hours of profound life solutions through his discourses. Social services such as Annadan, free medical care, free educational services, ashrams, schools, temples, hospitals established in more than 140 places around the world offer exceptional services. A powerful spiritual healer who has healed millions of people of diseases from migraine to cancer. A Kriya Yogi who has formulated Kriyas for physical health and mental well-being benefiting thousands. A living master who offers practical solutions for our everyday problems. Having meditation centers in 151 countries including Bidadi, Tiruvannamalai, Rajapalyam, Salem, Hyderabad, Varanasi, Los Angeles, Ohio, Seattle, San Jose and Phoenix. He is the founder and spiritual head of Nityananda Dhyanapitham, a spiritual guru for 10 million followers, an incarnation who transmits the highest spiritual energy through initiation. A contemporary yogi who has revived the Vedic science of yoga worldwide through thousands of yoga centers. Adept in Ashtamahasiddhis, mystical yogic powers, he has effortlessly awakened the Kundalini of thousands, gracing them with spiritual powers. A spiritual powerhouse who has revived the sacred Vedic tradition by establishing Vedic temples worldwide in places like Los Angeles, San Jose, Seattle, Toronto, Ohio, Oklahoma, Phoenix, St. Louis, Malaysia, Brazil, Paris, Guadeloupe, Dallas, New York, New Jersey, Atlanta, Calgary, Vancouver, Singapore, and places like Bangalore, Hyderabad, and Tiruvannamalai in India. A dynamic young guru who is an inspiration to thousands of youngsters. India's most watched spiritual guru online. A beacon of spiritual light who has triumphed over the forces of religious terrorism and political persecution. Paramahamsa Nityananda is an eternal Kalpataru, blessing the world with the boons of material abundance and spiritual enlightenment.
आनन्दानुभवास्वादं सर्वरोगनिवारकं वन्दे पापविनाशक्तं नित्यानन्दाय स्वागतं नित्यमुक्तं निर्विकल्पं ध्यानलोकप्रदीपकं वन्दे शान्तमयं बन्धं नित्यानन्दाय स्वागतम् आनन्दगन्धसञ्चारं सर्वोपाधिविनिर्मुक्तं वन्दे ज्ञानालयं नाथं नित्यानन्दाय स्वागतम्.
First question from Rukmani, Chennai. You spoke about honesty and authenticity. Can you please clarify this? I have been living my life the way it happens with the flow of life and without any disturbances of thoughts. Like I adapt to joint family of my parents and husband's side. I simply go with the flow of my professional and the other activities. Suppose now I have some disturbances to say shift to total spirituality or to something that will totally cut out from all those that happen just through natural acceptance. Does it mean that I was authentic but now I have become just honest? And suppose I shift out totally and walk in the direction of my thoughts, what happens to a new engram of guilt being added to my karma? Or should I attain that state where the guilt goes off to totally shift? How should I handle myself at such a situation, Swamiji? Please enlighten me on this so that I get some clarity on this issue. Thank you.
Rukmini, I look into your question. I just wanted you to know the truth. You are neither honest nor authentic. When I see the whole question, there is so many ifs and buts. If I analyze your earlier situation, you say you adopted the family life, joint family of parents and husbands. I simply go with the flow of my professional and other activities. I feel you have not even grown up to the level of awakening your individual intelligence. Please understand. I am not saying you should be fighting with the family and fighting in the professional life, but I am saying if you don't even have a suffocation in your family, in your professional life, something is seriously wrong. It can never be. How can you not even have a suffocation if the individual intelligence is awakened? There will be some form of suffocation, feeling things are not enough. There will be some form. Understand, if there is no suffocation and you are not feeling things are not enough in just with your family and professional life, then individual intelligence is not yet awakened. Individual intelligence is yet to be awakened. That's all I can say. That is all I can say. You are asking, suppose now I have some disturbances to say, shift to total spirituality. The moment you say suppose, then the problem does not exist for you as on now. You are imagining, if I shift to spirituality, something that will totally cut out from all those that happened just through natural acceptance. Does that mean that I was authentic but now I become honest? No. If you shift to spirituality, I can say, now only you have started living. Now honesty may come, then authenticity may come. Now only you are born. Till now, so many other people were living through you. You are never born, you never lived. The individual intelligence has never started. I tell you. I am not saying fight with your family. I am not saying fight with the people in your profession. No. But I am saying if you are not feeling suffocated, if you are feeling everything is all right, something is seriously wrong with you. Everything will be all right only when you realize the whole cosmos is in order. Whole thing is all right. Only then you can understand what I mean by the word authenticity. You are asking, if I shift out and walk in the direction of my thoughts, what happens to new engram of guilt being added to my karma? First thing, when you walk into the spiritual path, you never add guilt as a new engram. Very beautifully Ramakrishna says, you cannot disobey, go beyond your parents' family commitments. But when it comes to the question of enlightenment, you can throw everything out. Nothing is bigger when it comes to enlightenment. When it comes to enlightenment, Guru is the highest, father or mother or any other social commitments. Even the marriage has no meaning. Understand, when you walk on the true spiritual path, the guilt can never be added as one more karma. The whole question is more theory. If this happens, what will happen? If that happens, what will happen? But I tell you, human beings carry certain mind. If I give this story, you will understand. Two fellows are sitting and talking. Friendly chat outside a tea shop in a remote Indian village. Going to a local chai shop early morning, 10 o'clock. Sitting there and drinking a chai and talking about the whole story. What happened in others' life till evening 3 o'clock is one of the important ritual which is supposed to be done by all Indian villagers. And India never misses it. India, Mahatma Gandhi said, India lives in huts. No, I tell you, India lives in tea shops. Two fellows are sitting and talking. One says, hey, if I win a lottery in 1 crore, I will buy enough of cows, bulls, buffaloes and make a dairy farm. The other guy says, if I win a lottery, I will buy 1,000 acre. This fellow doesn't stop there. He says, all right, you will buy cows, bulls, buffaloes, but where will you graze them? That is why, see, I am intelligently planning. I will first buy land. This fellow says, why should I buy land? I will graze all of them in your land. This fellow says, how dare you will send your cows, bulls, buffaloes in my land? He started raising the voice. He said, I will send. What will you do? Come on, you see. Finally, they started fighting, beating each other, biting. Both of them have not even realized neither they have 1 crore nor they are going to get it. It is just ifs and buts. In your life also, the worst part is, at least in the story I described, there are two people. In your life, you are alone is enough. You sit this side. If I get 1 crore, what will happen? I will buy bulls, cows, buffaloes. You sit on the other side. If I get 1 crore, what will happen? I will buy huge land. Then you come this side. No. Where will I graze my cows, bulls? You go that side and say, no. I will buy land first. That is the best thing. You come this side. No, I will graze my cows on his land. And you say from that side, no. How dare you graze your cows and buffaloes in my land? Worst part is, in your life, you play both sides. With ifs and buts, you kill yourself. I can say ifs and buts are psychological hanging rope. Till you destroy your intelligence. You see, unfortunately, human beings does not want to live in solutions. Unless there's a constant challenge, the problems unsolved, you don't feel like life is flowing. For you to feel life is flowing, you need a lot of unsolved mystery problems. Unsolved problems. Then what to do? Come on, create. To create problems, what is the best way? Ifs and buts. I tell you, these ifs and buts are the hanging rope for your psyche. If you can just think without if and but in your inner space, just for 11 days, I tell you, you will experience honesty. Decide to edit your inner space without words if and but. Whatever happens, look. You will come down to reality, I tell you. You will come down to reality. It is ifs and buts which goes on dragging you, moving you out of reality. Never lets you experience the reality. I have always seen all huge infrastructures go without being used. Please understand. All huge infrastructures. Small house will be overflowing with people. Not only the people of that family, friends, relatives, all. Huge bungalows will be there just with one person or two persons. Even the two will not be living with the other person. They will be living individually. Same way, small ashrams like these small halls will be jam-packed. See, all over the world, all our temples and ashrams are very small, but they remain jam-packed. But the huge infrastructures always remain empty. It is so unfortunate. All these small halls, small rooms, hundreds, thousands, sometimes lakhs gather to sit, meditate, worship. At this moment, I am sitting in a small town in India, Tiruvannamalai, my native place, but I can see all over the world thousands of people are sitting with us, listening to these truths, meditating. Small infrastructures are used more than required. All huge infrastructures remain empty because by the time they become huge, they lose their authenticity and honesty. My only work now is more than teaching spirituality to new people, making the old devotees live spirituality. Making them live it honestly, live authentically. That job has become my first priority. Then reaching out to new people. Please understand, earlier, reaching out to new devotees, disciples and making them live spirituality was my first priority. Now, this whole year, I have decided the first priority is making our devotees, disciples live spirituality honestly and authentically. Because explosion does not happen outside, it happens inside. Yes, last year was sharing enlightenment year, where it's outside, sharing with new people. This time explosion, exploding into enlightenment. It starts from inside. This whole year, my first priority is making our devotees and disciples, samajis, satsangis, live honestly, authentically the spiritual truths. Depth of spirituality should be lived in body language, in life. Understand, authenticity or honesty happens to people who are already awakened. Rukmini, through your question I can very clearly understand neither you are authentic nor honest, because still even the awakening has not yet happened in you. Even awakening is yet to happen in you. So without any guilt, shift totally to spirituality, go with it. That is your first priority. Everything else will follow.
The second question is from Sai Durga. Beloved Swamiji, the other day in satsang, you had asked us to unclutch from 10 major patterns of our life. Can this be done with patterns of physical pain as well? Please explain.
Sai Durga, first try to unclutch from mental patterns. She is saying, other day in satsang you had asked us to unclutch from 10 major patterns of our life. Can this be done with patterns of physical pain as well? Please explain. I wanted all of you to know, first always start with psychological patterns so that you will be encouraged. You see, psychological patterns are a lot more easy to break. If you start immediately day one itself, I will break the pattern of eating food and drinking water. You may fail after 4th day or 5th day. Then you will lose your whole confidence. That is not what I wanted. First, start with psychological patterns. Work 1 month. Take just 10 patterns. Make a list. This 1 month, don't suffer, don't have guilt, don't bother about all other patterns. Just the 10 pattern, go on unclutching whenever it comes. Whenever it comes, go on unclutching just the 10 pattern. Then next month, I have given a clear process. Start always in Purnima. Paurnami day, 10 patterns. Make a list. Decide to unclutch from that. Continuously unclutch that 1 month. Next Paurnami, take a note. In the 10, 3 or 4, you might have been 100% successful. 3 or 4, 50-50. 3 or 4, you may not even be able to break once or twice. So, make the list. 100% successful. Whatever patterns you are able to break, forget about it. You won the game. This 50%. Then again, start working on them second month. Patterns you are never able to break. Again, take them up for the second month. Second month, take these remaining patterns which you are not able to break and add. For example, from the last month's pattern, you got 5 to work even this month. Then add 5 more new this month and break. Continue, continue, continue. This is the only way. There is no shortcut in spiritual path. There is no smart way. Shortest distance between 2 points is straight line. So straightforwardness, being straight, is the only way you can break these patterns. I tell you, every pattern is a chain binding you. If you are living with patterns, it is nothing more than, see, it is just open prison. Living with patterns is living with open jail, open prison. That is not the human life. So start with the psychological patterns. Then naturally you will move to lot of confidence and intelligence. Then take up physical pain, physical patterns. You will be successful. If you start directly with physical and break and fail, unfortunately, it becomes, you lose the whole confidence in the very process, in the very spiritual truths. So actually from this month, every month I am going to work with the devotees and disciples. Today is Paurnami. All over the world you can all send your requests. Whoever is going to work on your patterns, pick up 10 patterns. Send that to me. I'll bless you that you will break from those patterns. Work this 1 month. Next month, next Paurnami, send me the homework report. We will work on this one project continuously. I have decided I am going to guide the disciples. Whoever physically here in Tiruvannamalai, whoever is there sitting with me all over the world, through the internet, you can send your pattern emails which you want to break. I'll bless you. Next month again, send your homework. How many you successfully unclutched? How many you are struggling? 50-50. With how many you are not able to unclutch even one? You are a failure. Send your email to n.sharing@nityananda.org. Send your emails. We will work continuously. When I find time, I'll even give you some tips. And I may read your patterns if I find any advice you need. I may not mention your name, but I will answer your problem in the satsang itself. The satsang itself, I will answer for you. So that I continuously work with you. You work with me. All of you get the opportunity to work with me continuously from all over the world, awakening your inner potential energy and achieving free life. Achieving the life of ultimate freedom, achieving the life of enlightenment, Jivan Mukti. Actually, working together this way is the real purpose why I started this video conferencing satsangs. wherever you are, just do these homeworks. That's enough. You are much more than Ashramite. You are actually Ashramite who is really responsible. I tell you, doing the homework and working with me makes you much more than an Ashramite. Makes you much more growing in spirituality than working with me and growing in spiritual truth, spiritual depth is the only purpose for which I started this two-way video conferencing and satsangs.
This question is from Ramya, Malaysia. Dear Swamiji, what is the difference between being unclutched and being lazy? When I am unclutched and I am not doing any action, am I not being lazy? On the other hand, how can I do any action without being clutched to it while I am executing that action? Kindly explain, Swamiji.
Ramya, I think you are a newcomer. First thing, I can say very clearly, you are asking this question because you never tried unclutching. If you unclutch, then you will understand. You will never feel laziness in your body. You will never feel laziness in your mind. Unclutching is not stopping your body or mind. It is you witnessing or moving out of your body and mind. Please understand, I want to tell you. Unclutching is not stopping the activity of your inner space. Initially, when you unclutch, your inner space activity may come down, but once you go deeper into the unclutching, nothing, neither inner space activity nor outer action will come down. No. Your outer action and inner space activity will be continued. It will be happening. You will be untouched. You will be unclutched. So Ramya, your very question says, you are new. You never tried. You never looked in. You never practiced. First, I recommend you understand the unclutching technique, process from my songs. In YouTube, if you go, there is a separate playlist. Be unclutched. See all those discourses of being unclutched. And understand unclutching. Start living it. Then all these questions, all these doubts will completely disappear. Now, I'll enter into today's Bhagavad Gita. In Bhagavad Gita, 4th chapter, Jnanakarma Sannyasa Yoga, 21st sloka. Nirashir yada chittatma tyakta sarva parigraha shariram kevalam karma kurvannapnodi kilpisham. Having given up the desires, having subdued the reasoning faculty with his consciousness and having surrendered all his possessions, the one who does actions merely for maintenance of the body incurs no guilt. Beautiful verse. Having given up the desires, having subdued the reasoning faculty with his consciousness, and having surrendered all his possessions, the one who does actions merely for the maintenance of the body incurs no guilt. I tell you, I really want to expand on this verse. Having given up desires, instead of translating this, I will say instead of saying having subdued the reasoning faculty with his consciousness, I'll say making his consciousness grow than the reasoning faculty, having surrendered all his possessions, the one who does his actions merely for the maintenance of the body incurs no guilt. Sri Krishna is again and again and again proving is the ultimate strategy planner. I tell you, every time when I read one sloka of Bhagavad Gita, I fall for Sri Krishna. I just fall in love. Because only a orator, a teacher will understand how difficult it is to put some great truths in one line or two lines. See, only a architect will understand the architectural excellence. Only an architect will understand the greatness of Meenakshi temple, Rameshwaram temple, Tejo Mahalaya, which is renamed as Taj Mahal by Shah Jahan. It's a great Shiva temple. One of the greatest Shiva temple built in India is Tejo Mahalaya, later on which was occupied and renamed by Shah Jahan as Taj Mahal. Only an architect will understand the wonder. Only he can appreciate Taj Mahal much better than an ordinary man. Only an artist will appreciate another on art. Only a poet will be able to appreciate another on poet. Only a musician will be able to understand the difficulty and respect another on poet. I tell you, because I am working whole day, my whole life is dedicated to teaching the highest truths, the best way to human beings. I can understand how difficult it is, and I can appreciate the greatness of Sri Krishna. Every verse makes me fall for him and his amazing strategy planning. I tell you, if a society follows this one statement, we will simply have Satya Yuga, the enlightened civilization. Nirashihi yadachittatma tyakta sarva parikraha shariram kevalam karma kurvan apnodi kilpisham. Having given up the desires, having growing the consciousness than your reasoning faculty, having surrendered all his possessions, the one who does actions merely for maintenance of the body incurs no guilt or sin. Apart from not incurring guilt or sin, I tell you, he will become a great mystic, a yogi, a Jivan Mukta. I can say, my whole ashram, my whole organization, the whole Nityananda Dhyanapitham is nothing but me trying to make this one verse into reality. That's all. Bhagavan has uttered by words. I am trying to carve this using the human beings and buildings and make this into reality. I am just trying to write this verse on the cosmos using buildings and human beings. That is Nityananda Dhyanapitham. Because whatever I am trying to say as Jivan Mukti, Bhagavan has put it just in one word, one line. I tell you, Bhagavan says, having given up desires, I don't even want you to give up desires. I just want you to give up conflicting, complicating, contradicting desires. That's all. I am not against the desire. I am against constantly moving from one desire to another and never living the depth of it, never even understanding desire has no depth over you. It is like suffering standing in front of the closed doors which is not even locked from inside. One king wanted to get a successor. He doesn't have a son, he has only daughter. He wants to find right successor and give his daughter in marriage and make that guy as king. So he announced, whoever opens the door of my fort and comes inside, I'll give my daughter and the kingdom. He closed the door. Whole city gathered in front of the door. Each one was talking, hey, even elephants cannot open this. How can we? All of them were talking. One young man thought, all right, why not let me try? He went and tried, just pushing. The door immediately opened because it was never locked from backside. It was never locked from inside. How? The poor fellow was standing in front of the unlocked door. All of them were standing and struggling. Only one person tried. He won the game. Same way, many times you are standing in front of unlocked door and you think it's a big problem. I tell you, even your desire, just live one desire. You will understand desire has no depth in your life. It is just skin deep. It is the complications, contradictions and conflicts you create with your desires is crime. Subdue the reasoning with the consciousness. Grow the consciousness. I tell you, you win the game. The moment you grow your consciousness, you win the game.